Good evening, dear ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your attention in this late hour, and thank you for the organizers for the opportunity to present the company. I'll try to make the presentation interesting, and hopefully you will find some useful information for you. Excuse me. This one. So my presentation, it's about the gold company. We are a junior mining exploration company operating in Russia. We have been founded in 2007. So next year it will be 10 years how we are in operation. We are listed in Sweden, and we operate in the area called Kopy Goldfields in Russia. And we are only one publicly listed company in the area, and one of very few in Russia. So the area where we operate, it's the middle of Russia, north of Mongolia, north of China. So it's roughly 6 hours flight from Moscow, and then further between Irkutsk and our operating area, it's 2 more hours of flight. The area is known for a long history of alluvial mining, and bedrock mining has been started there just 10 years ago. As a company, we have 12 licenses for the total area of around 2,000 square kilometers. We have just reported new resources for one of our major projects called Krasny, and in total we have 1.1 million ounces of bedrock gold resources in accordance with JOC. We have pretty good transparency and corporate governance as we are listed in Sweden. We have a market cap of around 80 million Swedish kronas, and we have more than 5,000 shareholders. We have a pretty good liquidity in the share trading for a junior company. During the last 2 years, we completed 2 major transactions. One is made a joint venture with the GV Gold, one of the major Russian gold producers, for $9 million, and closed a sale of 2 of our projects, Kavkaz and Pridolny, to the outside parties. So during this year, we have a pretty strong development in the share price, with the total share increasing from around 0.5 krona to more than 2 kronas in the middle of the year. This is a typical landscape in the area. This is alluvial mine, been known for more than 100 years, and the operation there is still ongoing. This is this alluvial mine over here, and the picture is taken from the top. And we are looking for the bedrock sources of this alluvial gold. And this is a typical textbook picture when you have a bedrock deposit which been weathered and then creating an alluvial deposit. So this is alluvial deposit, and we're looking for this source, bedrock gold. The area, it's one of the oldest gold producing area around the globe. So the gold rush here started around the 1840s, and it was before the Californian gold rush and before the Yukon gold rush. End of the 19th century, this area was the major gold producing area around the globe. So since then, the area has been permanently producing more than 10 tons of gold per year, and accumulated gold production is more than 40 million ounces of gold. A majority of that gold is alluvial gold. There are a lot of still operating alluvial mines around the area. And 150 years left the area with good infrastructure, with good electricity, with relatively good roads, with a lot of qualified personnel. Mining in this area is the only industry, and there is no other industries for the employment. Hence, all the authorities, local authorities and municipal authorities, are very much supportive of Russia, of mining. There are several major gold deposits in the area. One is Sukhoy Log over here. It's state-owned, unlicensed, and there is discussion that it will be sold by the end of this year. It's 60 million ounces of bedrock gold, and it's one of the major gold deposits which is not in the production. There are 2 projects which are in production, called one is Vysocaysk and the second is Verninskaya. This one belongs to GV Gold, our partner. This one belongs to Polus Gold, the Russian major gold producer. Within the area, we have 3 major projects. One is called Northern Territories. It's around 200 kilometers from the regional city Boraibo. The next is Krasny, our flagship project, which we are developing into production. And then a smaller Kopolovskaya project, which we are looking a partner for. Some information about Russia and gold mining in Russia. Overall, Russia at the moment, with a strong ruble fall against US dollars, is among the cheapest jurisdiction for mining costs. Overall, the tax regime and mining legislation is pretty favorable in Russia. So it's 6% royalty for the gold production, and the projects in Siberian region and Far East have tax benefits for that. There is 20% flat profit tax. Also, there are benefits for Siberian projects, and we are referring to this project. So we will be, as soon as we are in production, we will be claiming for tax subsidies. And then there is 13 flat personal income tax, which makes the labor force and labor costs in Russia pretty cheap. So a fact which is not very well known, but which is very interesting, is that around 50% of gold production in Russia is done by international companies, and major gold producers are all registered outside, like Petropavlovsk in UK, Kinross in Canada, Polymetal and Nordgold. And Kinross, one of the major Canadian gold producers, their Russian operations in Kupol and Chukotka is actually the most profitable. Overall production permits, including environmental permits, it's less than 1 year. Mining costs is around 500, 600 at most at the moment. Strong support from the local administration. And what is also important, the sanctions against Russia don't concern the mining industry, metals mining. 2 small projects which we have, it's Kopolovskaya and Northern Territory projects. Kopolovskaya is actually where we started for around 8 years ago. The area is 80 kilometers. We have JOC resource of around 117,000 ounces. We have a pilot production plant initially established at the area, and we are looking for a joint venture partner to develop it into production. This year we renew various production permits and land lease. The Northern Territories, it's a big project in the northern part of Kopy Goldfields. This is how the area looks like closely. All these red lines are alluvial mines, either in operation or produced. This area is very well known for alluvial mining. It has a geology similar to Sukhoy Log, so we have 6 licenses there. But so far there was no consistent exploration for the bedrock within the area. So we have started some limited exploration this year. So with the stream sedimentary survey, where we are taking samples along the streams and analyzing them for gold in order to indicate sources for this gold in the streams. The idea is to cover initially the whole 1,800 kilometers in order to get the new anomalies and then compare them with the historically known anomalies in order to identify and confirm the targets. So far we have received information for about 23% of the total samples, and we have come up with 7 targets, and some of them are pretty interesting, like this target. It is in total 15 square kilometers, and it's a new anomaly not known previously. So it could be, each of this target could correspond to a project several million ounces of resources based on the size of the surface mineralization. Krasny project. This is our flagship project, which we are developing into production in cooperation with our partner, GV Gold. We got the license in 2010, so the license is valid until 2035, with an area of 31 square kilometer. There are several producing alluvial mines around Krasny, and Krasny, as we saw in the previous picture, is actually the typical textbook source of these alluvial mines around. In 2014, we signed a joint venture with GV Gold, and GV Gold so far invested $9 million to get the 51% stake in the project. So the project is located around 50 kilometers from the regional city of Bodaibo. Along the road, there is a regional road crossing Krasny and then going further towards Vysochayshe and Sukhoy Log. Sukhoy Log is about 80 kilometers to the north from Krasny. Under the joint venture, our company is operator for the exploration activities. We have did that in 2014, 15, and we are finalizing this year. First gold production for the bedrock is expected 2019, and alluvial production from the same area could be done early if proven. GV Gold as a partner. So there were a lot of discussions before we went in joint venture with GV Gold about having a big Russian company as a partner, how reliable and long-term partner they could be, and if we really have the same interests. And so far it was actually very nice confirmed. And GV Gold paid this year $2 million as a conditional consideration based on the exploration results. GV Gold is one of top 10 Russian gold producers, producing around 180,000 ounces of gold, mostly from Bodaibo area. They have 3 mines in operation. One is Vysochayshe, the second is Ugakhansk, Ozherelye, and then they have the third one in Yakutia. This year they commissioning Ugakhan project over here. By the end of this year, it's as soon as it is commissioned, they are targeting to move their personnel and commissioning equipment and facilities towards Krasny. And Krasny, obviously, for them, it's an excellent further development within the area. What is interesting about GV Gold, they have strong international shareholders, BlackRock and EBRD. And for EBRD, it's one of very few mining projects within Russia. They are a very low-cost producer, less than $500,000 per ounce in 2015, and this year it will be even less than that. They are distributing more than 25% of their net profit as dividends. Krasny. So we started exploration in 2011. So we initially drilled 15,000 meters of core boreholes. And based on that, in 2013, we issued the first resource report. Later, 2014, we signed a joint venture with GV Gold, and since then, within 2 steps, now it's the third step. We drilled 15,000 meters plus 18,000 meters totally boreholes, and this year we are proceeding with feasibility and further exploration. We so far spent more than $12 million for the project. Earlier this year, we issued a Russian reserve report for 300,000 ounces, covering only the top structure. So Krasny has 2 structures. It's the upper structure and the lower structure. The Russian reserve report was actually just about the upper structure. Later in May, we issued the scoping study, also only for the upper structure. And later we issued the update for the JOC resource report, and it covered both upper and lower structure. Under the JOC, we have around 1 million ounces of resource indicated and inferred, calculated at an average gold price of $1.2 thousand per ounce. And as you can see, this is the model in open pit for the JOC resource reporting. So part of mineralization is currently left outside of the mineable open pit based on this gold price and the production costs. So if the gold price, for instance, will change to the current 1.35, 1.36, this open pit will be actually remodeled, and part of the mineralization which is currently left outside will be included. Further development target for the Krasny. This year we're running exploration and development program targeting the Krasny Central and then Krasny North, and doing some sporadic exploration around the whole license to understand the potential. The idea is that by the end of this year we will finalize exploration within the Krasny Central upper structure and prepare it for the decision to commence construction and development early next year. So the idea is that this decision will be taken the first quarter of 2017. So 2017 will be spent very much for infrastructure preparation for the construction. Later this year, we expect to publish results for the Northern Territories, for the results for the Krasny exploration program. We also have two alluvial licenses, one alluvial license within the Krasny bedrock license. And this year we do some limited alluvial exploration in order to understand if development of alluvial is reasonable. Alluvial is actually on the top of the bedrock. So for us, in order to produce bedrock, we will anyway need to strip some of the soil, and this soil does include some alluvial gold. So producing this alluvial gold is very much in synergy with the overall development of the project. This is coming from the new discovery. This is the Krasny North, and before that there was no mineralization. So this year we confirmed that there is mineralization within. These are two drill profiles coming from today's press release. So we crossed mineralization in two profiles which are located 200 meters from each other, and this mineralization is now confirmed. We do further prospect and exploration along the strike with target to get an understanding of this satellite deposit by the end of this year, early next year. This is a long view, a long cross-section along Krasny deposit. So what is interesting, so this year we put a lot of focus on the lower structure, which was initially in 2014 when GV Gold joined the project. They really didn't look on this lower structure. They were just focused on the upper, because the gold prices at that time was around 1,000. So now the gold price is increasing. The lower mineralization looks mineable at the moment. So this year we do more drilling on the lower structure. What's interesting, this is the new discovery coming from the recent exploration program, and we see that the lower mineralization actually goes further along the strike against outside the open pit as we modeled it, and also on both sides, and also coming closer on the western end. Shortly about the structure of the company, we're listed on NASDAQ First North, totally having around 60 million shares. With market cap currently slightly lower than that, it's around 80-85. Our biggest shareholder is KGK Holding, and we have a lot of retail investors. So the share price has been developing pretty well during the year, with some fall after we decided to get the permits from the AGM for the share issue. So there have been some analyst coverage of our company during the summer. So some of them think that we're worth at least 2.7 krona per share, probably more than that, up to 4 krona per share, probably less. So analysts are always analysts. So several words about the board and management. We have a Swedish board with Kjell Karlsson as chairman, Jochen Österlin and Andreas Forssell, and then we have a mixture of the management from Russian and Swedish side, with myself as CEO, Tim Karlsson as CFO, and then two more guys as Chief Operational Officer and Chief Geologist. A couple of words about the coming rights issue. we are doing the rights issue to finance development of the Krasny project towards feasibility. The record date is September 21, so we are issuing around just looking for raise about 20 million Swedish kronor and issuing 1 new share for 3 subscription rights. So the subscription trading and subscription rights was started today. So it's interesting. It's actually better than we expected, and hopefully we will manage pretty nice for that. The issue is 80% guaranteed, and the targeting dilution is about 25%. That's shortly about the company. So thank you for your attention and questions.
When I look at your pictures, I think I find that you're on an extremely good gold area. Is it so?
You mean extremely good built area?
Yeah.
Well, the area, what is good about the area, it has a long history of alluvial mining. Means alluvial mining, you can say that it's primitive, it's not very dedicated, but after 150 years, the area left with leaves the area with the infrastructure. Alluvial miners, they're coming everywhere. There are roads, there are electricity lines. So if you are running dredge operations, you need to have a lot of electricity supply for that. Obviously, it's less compared to a big mill, but still it's a lot. And also it leaves the area with a lot of experienced and dedicated personnel. And also it leaves the area and the administrative bodies in the area to understand the mining, understand the mining cycle, understand what is necessary for the company to successfully develop mining projects.
So you don't have any problems to get good personnel?
I would say in any country, if you want to get good personnel, you have a problem. So Russia is not an exception for that, but we do have a good personnel. It was up and down in the company, but currently we have a pretty good team. Overall, going forward, what's good is we have a partner which is commissioning a mine this year. Means they have like a schedule for Krasny in next year and the year after the next. So they're a team of commissioning people. So there is obviously a difference between running exploration, commissioning a plant, and running a plant. So the team which is commissioning the plant, not necessarily the team which is running the plant. There are some synergies, but it's not exactly the same. You have a lot of construction personnel there, which you don't need for the running a mine. So that's why they have the commissioning team, which they are now commissioning one plant, and then will be moving to Krasny. So that's, for us, actually, to start Krasny together with a partner, we don't need to build the learning curve and to build all the personnel and equipment from scratch. So that's a big advantage of developing it with a partner.
If you go some years ago, you could find that 100 rubles could be bought for 26 Swedish crowns. Now the price is just half of it, 13 Swedish crowns. It must be for a Swede extremely low cost to run a mining operation in Russia.
Correct, and that this year Russia was historically a jurisdiction of low mining costs, and now we have a dual actually effect in the gold industry. So if we consider about the cash flow in US dollars, so what we have is that because ruble is devaluing against US dollars, we have the mining costs in US dollars, which are decreasing in Russia. And at the same time, gold is, during this year, it has increased like 25%. So we have increasing in the gold price, we have a decrease in the mining costs. So it's a very beneficial moment for mining and running mining projects in Russia.
So the share price for Kopy Goldfields is just very low now?
Well, I can't comment on that because the overall theory about the market is that the market has all the intelligence about the project, and what is reflected in the market should be a fair market price. But on the other hand, we understand that the market is run by the people. So, and people are very seldomly rational. So that's why the market is the market. We try to make it better.
Can you comment a bit about the big shareholders in the company? Which are they?
Well, they are private families, and they have been with the company for a long while, most of them. So they have been supporting the development of the company through the more difficult period, like 3-4 years ago, when the gold price was falling, and then the investments towards exploration projects were falling as well. So it was a dual negative effect, with the gold price falling and the appetite for risk among the investors was falling. So that's why it was pretty difficult at that time, and they were supporting the company through this difficult timing. So we are overall very glad with them.
You're so far always talking about gold, but gold is quite often combined with zinc or copper or silver. How about that?
I would say for our benefit, gold is the only useful component in our ore. It is true that quite often it is in polymetallic ore, you have a lot of stuff included. We have gold, and it's the gold ore. We don't have polymetal ore. So from our perspective, it's far easier in terms of processing.
How many grams of gold is it measured to 1 ton of rock? About?
It's about, the average is between 1.5 2 grams per ton. And but because we have two structures, the upper structure and the lower structure. The upper structure is it's partially oxidized when the primary ore is weathered and destroyed by the water. It gets crashed slightly, and the ore becomes it's called oxidized. And then we have the primary. The oxidized part has a slightly lower grade, and the primary part has a higher grade. And within the lower structure, we have only primary, and we have cross sections when we have like 5 grams per ton for like 20-30 meters. So hopefully the average grade is around I would say, so far it's around 1.5. So we hope it will be high in the end.
Mikhail, thank you very much for coming and informing us about a very interesting company.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you.
Thank you.